This is Curtis coming at you from Ace Spread Studios once again, covering the 2021 NFL season. Phins got 3 in a row. Miracles can happen. Now, I know the Jets are 2-7 going into this game, 2-8 after. They're not a good team. But it was in New York. Flacco is a vet, and division games are tough. So it's not just a throwaway game. I did expect the Dolphins to win. Kind of thought they'd win a little more handedly. It was a little bit more of a battle than I thought it should have been. But some of the things I talked about in the previous podcast kind of played out. And the first part is that Salah made the right move as far as putting Flacco in. Because I said that if a quarterback can throw outside the numbers, they're patient, they're calm, and they're able to basically take advantage of the heavy blitz, that this zero coverage is not going to be able to just be poured on like we saw against the Ravens. Lamar is not able to throw outside the numbers as Flacco can. He's a better quarterback. Tyrod, either, both of them a little bit shorter. And so we were able to pour on that heavy blitz, the zero look. But you can see here that certain matchups don't favor it. But we still were able to get to them. We were still able to use it. And it did come through for us, just not to the same level as we saw against the Ravens. And that's why I said you shouldn't expect this every week. Still, the defense played pretty good. I liked pretty much all the calls except for 2. I didn't like when it was 4th and 1 and we ran man coverage. You could see Byron Jones was getting antsy trying to call out who's covering who. We ran man. They beat us for a touchdown. They got to learn to get something down over here because this is a big weakness that gets exposed in us week after week. You have to run zone there, or the cover guys, someone has to jam, or they have to learn to call off and have some kind of zone coverage, because this happens over and over again. It's a big weakness for the man coverage, especially when it's like just only a few yards to go. I didn't like that. And I didn't like the big touchdown that Byron Jones gave up. I don't know what the deal was. Holland was running back with his back to the quarterback, and it just things looked off. I'm not sure if that was the actual call or if the players messed it up. But aside from that, the defense played pretty good. Really only allowed 14 points. The last 3 was just kind of, bend but don't break, just slow, let the clock roll. So they did their part. They played pretty well. Michael Carter going down was a big help. I think if Michael Carter had been in, this could have been a lot closer, and maybe even the Dolphins lost this game. Michael Carter's a good player. I've been talking about him way before he was even drafted. I really like this kid. He was a steal in the 4th round. But him going down really helped us a lot. But we did pull out the win, and we should be happy. 3 wins is not easy in the NFL. And yes, the Texans and the Jets aren't good teams, but the Ravens were. And these are 3 solid wins. Now, the defense, I'm going to go over the game. Basically, the defense, like I said, did well. Sealer, Wilkins, as you can see here on that 2nd and short, 3rd and short, just blew up the play. He's really coming on strong and looking like a very, very good draft pick. Sealer as well is a great find. Brandon Jones. At first it's like, maybe he's just the extra guy. And then I started seeing the way he came up late to the line of scrimmage on his blitzes. And he's really showing a big knack and skill for that late look blitz. And it's not just he's the extra guy at this point. He's really tricking these quarterbacks, and he's really finding his way. He had an elbow injury. I hope it's not bad, because he's a big piece to this defense. I think when he was gone, you could see some little shakiness over in this defense. He's a very big piece. Really like the kid. Phillips had that roughing penalty that gave the Jets a chance to move down the field. That was a bummer, but he had a big sack, showing some stuff. I still don't know if he's as good as some of these other picks that were picked around him, but I like the pick. I could see why they made it now. kid is coming on, and I like that he's staying healthy, and I like the way he plays the game. And this could be a really good pick for him. Still early, still got to wait to develop, but he is really starting to show some good stuff. Not perfect, but I really like what I'm seeing from the kid. Now, as I said, Dolphins got to do something. I mean, with the defense that we have, the aggressive defense we have, these rubs, these picks, these are going to be our kryptonite, and every defense has it. We just have to find a way to get around that. And some of that is the zone defense, but we're not really where we need to be in our zone defensive coverage. And I mentioned that last week. I showed in some of the tape Riley dropping and bunching up on the edges in the zone coverage and leaving a gap open in the middle. He did it again today. It was a big third down conversion. I like Riley a lot. But Baker and Riley, more so Riley, Baker's grown in that area. They're just not really the best zone coverers. They really don't understand the gap integrity yet. So that's something we're going to really have to work on. And speaking of Baker, if you can see in this play right here, Carter had that big run, running right through where Baker was supposed to be. Now, it's very difficult for a guy that's 210 pounds, 215 pounds to take on linemen. But this is something he gets exposed a lot. Even small, like last week I showed in the film, even receivers can box him out. And when you look at the amount of snaps he has, run defense plays a way bigger volume than his blitzes. He is exceptional in the blitzes, his big plays there, but his inability to stop the run, to take on blockers, and it could be helped if we had an elite, big linebacker who was able to cover, to drop, to go from sideline to sideline, to shield him and have him play like a semi-will type look, but we don't, and he gets exposed. And that's kind of concerning because they gave him, he's the 10th highest paid player on the team. And he was given $20 million guaranteed over a 4-year deal. But Fred Warner, if you remember, we were looking at, and everyone was talking about, the Dolphins won Fred Warner. We didn't trade up. Well, the San Fran traded up a couple spots, like 2 or 3 spots in front of us, and took him from us. And he's a much better linebacker. Not the blitzer, but his coverage and run defense is much better. He was given a 6-year deal for $27 million guaranteed. So to me, Baker is a little overpaid. And, that kind of like comes into Agba. Agba has, 9 deflections. This guy is a real game changer, and he's not signed. The money that we gave Baker, I would have preferred to see Baker walk if we could have locked down Agba. I know Agba's a little bit older, but he is a much better player. And so I'm a little concerned over that. Howard, he had some good plays, but you could still see he's ginger on that knee. His cuts aren't the same. He almost had that one pick, but it was thrown behind. If it had been thrown in front, it probably would have been a completion. So he's doing really well. It doesn't look like the knee's heavily damaged, but it's taken a little bit of some of his greatness off. And it's a shame because if he was as healthy as he was last year, he would have because he's having a pretty good season playing dinged up. So, but overall, the defense played really well. There's nothing to complain about the defensive side. I'm a little concerned about the run defense, a little here or there. But overall, some players are stepping up. Everything's looking good. This game really came back to the offense. And I did a video last time. I said, everything else is second level as far as concerns compared to the offensive line. And the staff, really. And Greer, who's responsible, he's on top of that, which caused the next 2 levels. And I like the trickeration of this offensive staff. They bring out some very interesting plays, and it really changes the course of the game. Had major impact, but the consistency's not there. And I understand because his offensive line is just poor. But my wondering is this the nature? Is this lighthearted, high-flying, finesse-style offense? Is this the nature of this of these offensive coordinators, or is it just a reflection of the fact they realize they can't run the football and this offensive line is terrible? Because to me, even if you get the offensive line you want, I don't really like this offense. I like pieces of it, but I don't like this finesse style, because you could see there's a couple times where we needed to take stuff. And everything is finesse. The blocking's finesse. Everything's finesse. And when you add lots of finesse in it, it's nice, and it could be, like a big play, but it gets sometimes too cutesy and they get in their own way. So I'm a little concerned. I definitely see growth in these OCs. And, it goes back to like the nature of the RPO. Some people, I'll always say, Tua's lack of speed to get to the edge really affects this RPO. And so people say, RPO doesn't mean the quarterback runs. I said, no. The threat of a quarterback getting to the edge is not implicit in the RPO, but that threat does amplify the RPO, as does a running game. And the fact that we don't have a running game, and we don't have, because if you watch like Mahomes or Allen or Lawrence, when they run that RPO once or twice a game, they keep it and get to the edge, and it puts fear into the defense, and they got to respect it. Now, this is not a knock on Tua, but what it is saying is that I believe Tua's game is more driven, it should be more driven towards like a Breeze-like game. And I'm going to get into Tua. I thought he had a really good game. There's a lot of good things I liked, but I don't like the way they're designing this offense, because the RPO, it looks really good, but unless you have a quarterback that really threatens the edge, and that's not like absolute, that's like the cherry on top, but you need a very good run game though to really make. But if you don't, these linebackers, they just drop and clog that angle from basically just outside the hashes and in between the hashes and the numbers. They drop the linebackers. You saw Tua almost had a pick over that. And so the RPO does feel nice. It can have its, but it's just got to be a piece of the puzzle. And I think they overuse it. So I'm hot and cold on these OCs. Do see some growth, but it's the O-line. Back to the O-line. Look at Jackson here getting destroyed and Tua taking a shot. This kid is not ready. I'll say it again, week after week, people saying he's not. He's grown. No. He had the full start, which was a big one. You can see a picture over here. Look at him on the ground. This is not good stuff. You get on the Hollins touchdown, he was holding, as you can see here. And this could have easily been a big play called back. The kid is not ready, and I don't know why they keep putting him in there. Hunt, he had some negative plays and some good plays. A couple times he, like on that short quarterback sneak, he got beat bad. But there was another play, he had some nice blocks on the move. So I see some growth in him. Not as much as I think we should see at this point. So he played pretty well. Eichenberg played okay. It wasn't a lot. He didn't really see him get beat a lot. He got beat a few times. This was one of his better games, but it was against a weaker opponent. Center is a total disaster. Ted Karras is over with the Patriots for $3 million, and he's playing their left guard spot, and he's one of the tops in the league as far as playing and filling in. And we could have had him. We could have had him at center. We could have had him guard. But this goes back to Greer. I mean, it was just, he shipped off Flowers, and he shipped off Van Noy, which constricted our cap, and then he had to force out Karras. Just utter disaster management of the cap. And Karras should be here, but he's not. He's with the Patriots, smart team as far as management. Davis, he's fighting. He had some good plays, some bad plays, but he's not supposed to be there. But this line was a big, big problem. They made some plays, and I'll do a show later on, another podcast, how they do all this movement. And occasionally it frees things up and opens things up. But more often than not, there's problems there. And really what it is, it's makeup on a crack core, trying to make this offensive line look better than it is. That's why you have to get the right angles for all these guys, because they can't handle it on their own. Waddle, Gesicki, Both played pretty good. Gesicki had that pass interference. Stupid. Didn't need to do that. Waddle, I thought, made some really nice strides. Still not being used the way I like. Still see him as like a Deshaun Jackson type, but we don't have the offense to get him the way he is. But he's growing. He's growing. Still overpriced, but growing. And he's showing stuff. He's showing. There was some very nice catches, and his route running has grown. Gaskin. People say we don't have some nice runs by Gaskin, some tough runs by Gaskin, some nice bursts by Gaskin, some nice catches by Gaskin. And then it comes down to Tua. Yes, this defense isn't the greatest thing since sliced bread. But when you have mitigating factors of this offensive line being terrible, you get to see kind of what this kid can do if he has semi-coherent protection and play calls. And he played pretty well. Now, there was this play. It was a bad pick. It was kind of a boneheaded play. He was forced to go on a move because Davis missed the block. And he made that quick stop and throw. And when you move into the left, throw into your right, and your arm isn't elite, even if it is, it's very difficult. But when it's not elite, it's very, very, he should never have thrown this football. So that was a mistake. It was a boneheaded play. And it's things he's got to, the boneheaded plays is what he really needs to work on. But he's young. That's part of being a young quarterback. But there was a lot of nice plays in here. And I'm going to go over those. The drive at the end of the half was really nice by him. I didn't like that throw at the end. The last throw he had was almost a pick over the middle, but he was being pressured. I didn't like the call. And there was, of course, the Hollins play, his ability to climb up, read downfield, get it downfield. Thankfully, they didn't call Jackson for the hold. Then it was a 3rd and 7 with like 50 seconds left in the third quarter. And it was a nice throw. It was like about a 15-yard out, considering he was about 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And the timing and the accuracy on the out was perfect to Waddle. Really showed that this kid, and Omar Kelly had mentioned this kid's arm was way more lively this week. So it was really nice throw to see from the kid. But the one thing people keep saying is he doesn't have elite traits, and I disagree with that. He has one truly elite physical trait, and that is his release. It is absolutely an elite trait. It's not going to make him the next Dan Marino, but it's a valuable asset on the NFL level, and it saves him time and time again. And if it can be developed properly, and again, this is why I like him better as a Breeze comp than I do this RPO type style stuff. I just don't know if this offense staff will develop him properly. But you can see on this play to Gaskin, he looks left, and as he comes back with the pressure on him, in an instant, he sees Gaskin and releases and gets the ball off. It was an excellent throw under heavy pressure. And it was only because that release, that elite trait that he does have. And, that was his second TD. And, people will say, oh, he's checked down Charlie. Well, okay. That's a long story. But Mac Jones, who I like a lot, he averaged like 5.5 yards a catch last week. Tua averaged 10 with the Hollins catch. But if you take the Hollins catch out, he averaged 7.7 yards per catch, just about, or eight. I believe it's 8 yards per catch, with 80% completions. This was a very good day for the kid. Yes, it's the Jets. Yeah, but this is one piece of a long evaluation process. Let's see how he does week to week. But this was a very good week for the kid, and I was very happy to see it. I'm not crowning him. I'm not saying, he's officially elite or anything like that. But in the evaluation, this is good tape and a good game aside from the boneheaded play. And that's why he's got to get rid of that. Now, there's a special teams miss we had. They had 2, sloppy game, bad teams. But at this stage, we're in the evaluation phase. And whatever Tua can do to build up his resume, to present a good look, is critical for the Dolphins going forward. And I liked it. I liked the team in general. I thought Flores did a good job coaching. The defense a good job playing. Obviously bumps in the road. Offense did really well, considering they had the 45th best offensive line in the NFL. I'm going to show you some statistics on those guys next week, on the next podcast. Bad stuff. So overall, be happy. But like I said, the media is going to flip the script as soon as they can and tell you defense sucks, Flores sucks, Tua sucks, they hate each other, and don't listen to them. Let's just evaluate, take it one step at a time. Good win. My wife and my son were so surprised I won the Dolphins won 3 in a row. It was a good feeling. Feels good to win. Yes, we're not going anywhere, but a win is a win and is good. It's a nice Sunday. So anyway, thank you for staying to the end. This is Curtis saying please like, comment, subscribe. I really like your comments. Subscribes and likes help us with the Google overlords, as I always say. Keeps us in business. I want to give a shout out to Ace Per Head. Best online sportsbook out there, best sponsors. They want to let you know with their world-class software, you can get on the action with friends, family, and coworkers as a local bookie. This wouldn't be happening without them. They are the best. You guys are just great commenters, great viewers, whatever you want to call it. Part of the community here. I appreciate you very much. Between Ace Bread and you guys, this has just become a real pleasure for me, so I'm grateful. Thank you for staying to the end. This is Curtis saying, catch you next time. Be well, and yeah, 3 in a row. Go Phins.